Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. I have Mark Smith of Bija Company with me today. Mark, I'd like to know more about the 6 questions that create value for any customer conversation.
Delighted to share that with you, Michael. All right, CEOs, grab a pen, start writing, because these are the 6 questions you're going to want to have in your arsenal, both for yourself when you work with CEOs as well, or with your customers as well as your sales force. So these are 6 questions you want to have every time you have a question. We start off every conversation with, what would make this a valuable conversation? Now, notice I'm using the word valuable because we want them to focus on the concept of value. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to use the V word frequently to help nail down the fact that this is indeed valuable. Every conversation I have with every customer starts off with, what would make this a valuable conversation? And I go around the room and ask everybody independently. And that is going to help me set the list of what they need from this conversation to say, yes, this was worth my time. And I want to be explicit because I can't read minds. And the last person I talked to may find something valuable that the person I'm talking to right now does not find valuable. And if I take that past experience and transfer it into this experience, I destroy my value in this current experience. Then what I want to do is nail down the value of that value. Let's monetize that value. So if we can do this, what would that mean? So I'm going to ask you a question, Michael, what would cause this conversation to be valuable for you? You might give me some sort of response.
I'll give you one.
All right.
How is this going to affect my short-term and long-term bottom line?
All right, I love it. So that's the thing that we want to share. And then so if we could do that, what would that mean to your bottom line? Right? So let's nail it down. Well, I mean, if I can increase my bottom line by 10 points over the next 3 months, man, that'd be worth it for me, right?
Yep.
So now what I've done is I've set some brackets around what that value means, and they can't wait to learn more from this conversation. So I've just turned this call into something that's highly motivating for us to continue the conversation. Then I'm going to deliver on those points that they made. Well, what I'd like to learn is, how is this going to impact my bottom line? And so we work our way through those conversations. And then I'm going to, since I took the conversation at the beginning from each individual, I'm going to address each of those people with what they've uniquely found valuable each. And I've got to make sure that I spread it across the entire team if I'm going to round up that consensus of everybody involved.
Got it.
Now, if somebody asks for something that I can't deliver, then I can reposition it at the beginning of the meeting. Well, I'm not prepared to talk about that, or can we set that up at another time, or how important is that being answered today? So I can reset expectations. There's nothing worse than a meeting where we don't get our expectations nailed.
Agreed.
So I've got to take care of that up front. In fact, it's better to cancel a meeting because I can't meet the expectations than to proceed and screw up my relationship with those people.
Absolutely.
Don't want to do that. Now, when we get to the end of the conversation, we wrap up by saying, question number 3, what was the most valuable idea you had from this conversation? What's the most valuable idea? I'm going to check in. And the reason why this is important is I want them to practice what they're going to say to others when they walk out of the meeting. So, they might say, hey, how was that conversation with Michael? Well, it was really great because I figured out a way to improve our bottom line by 10% over the next 3 months. Wow. Now, we're bought in. If I'm sharing that kind of information with the rest of my team, it's part of my identity. So this allows me to test how well I've done and let them practice how to go and speak about the relationship that we've generated out of that conversation. Then the 4th question is, when you use this, what is it worth, both short-term and long-term? So it allows them to reiterate essentially question number 2 when they have more information. And if we have the time, then I'm going to ask this next question. Well, what if it costs if you don't do this? Now, I'm more judicious with this question, but it's really helpful if you as a CEO are working with your team to round up both the carrot and the stick. The carrot is, what's this worth if you're doing this? And the stick is, what will it cost if you don't do this? And a lot of times that stick can accelerate the decision-making process if we can help them articulate the cost of waiting. And then the sixth question is simply this: when shall we have our next conversation? You always want to book the next conversation from the current conversation. If you just leave it that we're going to be getting together sometime soon, that frequently leaks away. We don't like that to happen.
No, too vague. Doesn't work.
Absolutely true. So what we need to do is book the next conversation, and I want to do it as an appointment. And gee, that's the way that you and I work. You know, we always book the next conversation from this conversation, and that's why I like coming back as a guest. So those are the 6 value creation questions that allow you to accelerate deals faster, because it taps into a person's motivation and identity and helps them identify the value of working with you.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
A real delight, Michael. Thank you. As always, learn more at executivestrategysummit.com.
And you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to